Hi there, my name's Jo and welcome to the Made by Jo Crafty Podcast. You are joining me on a very early morning. I woke up this morning, I was early, I had some time, so I thought why not catch you up on what I've been working on. Like I said, my name's Jo, I'm a knitter, sewer and crocheter based in Fife in Scotland, and today I have entirely knitting to show you, which I guess is becoming a theme. Oh no, that's not true. I do also have some sewing that I recorded before that I'll slot in as well. So there's some knitting and a little bit of sewing to show you. I hope you're well. I hope you have got something to drink and something to work on. I have a little bit of a cold, so I just have a cup of juice. But I hope you have something with you. And just like last time, we're going to try and do this with as minimal editing as possible, because I think that gives the most realistic viewing experience, just like we're having a conversation. So I'm gonna sip this and then we'll get started. Perfect. So I'll start as usual with what I am wearing. I am wearing, if you can see it, my Staffin sweater. This is a pattern by the Creabea. I test knit this pattern. I knit mine in 2 strands of Kinross 4-ply in the colour Highland Cow, and 1 strand in Needle and Thread Surrey, just in their rust orange colour. I don't know if it has a colour name, but that was what I chose. It is a patterned jumper. You alternate between different stitch patterns, and I really love it. I finished it sort of tail end of the season last year, I think. I can't actually remember when I finished it, so I wore it a little bit last year, but I didn't, not too much, and I just picked it out of my knit bag that I've got with all my knitting in it, to wear again now that it's officially autumn. I love autumn. I'm an autumn person. I love when the autumn leaves change from one colour to the other. I love when it starts to get a little bit colder. I love that it's bright days but it's still like chilly and you can wear a jumper. So I'm really living for autumn. As soon as it turned September 1st, I was in autumn mode. I was wearing my autumn socks and just feeling all the autumnal feels. I understand some people are clinging on to summer. Absolutely fine. My best friend is a summer girl. She absolutely loves summer, but I get really flustered with heat when I get too hot. I'm not very good, and obviously that's what happens when you are in the summer and it's warm. Sorry, like I said, it's very early, so you're getting an early morning chat with Jo. Today I've got 3 finished objects. They are all baby or children knits. I am not pregnant. None of my friends are currently pregnant. I'm just really enjoying knitting baby knits. They are small, satisfying, you can try out different stitch patterns, and I just really like them. So that's what I'll be doing for the near future. So I will be showing you them. I hope you don't mind. I've got a handful of works in progress, and then I've got quite a lot of acquisitions, but not sort of in your traditional acquisition style. Sorry, I'm going to grab my lip balm while I'm here. And I'll explain that at the end, because I know some people don't like acquisitions. I personally love acquisitions, which is why I will always show you my acquisitions, because I love watching what other people have got and looking at beautiful yarn and like seeing it in the skeins. I love that. So I hope you don't mind. And if you don't like it, you don't have to watch that part. Or you don't have to watch any of this if you don't like it. You're fully free will. You have free will as an adult, so if you don't like anything I'm saying, feel free to go and find someone else's video that better aligns with your values. There you go. There's my caveat. Right, we're starting. So I'm going to start with a whip that you saw last time, and it is the Peppermint Pure Cardi by Signet Yarns. When you saw this, it was just a yoke, I think, and now it is a full cardigan. It's not been blocked, so there is a button band on either side, but it curls in, so it needs blocked to stop that happening, and I need to add buttons and weave in the final few ends. But other than that, the knitting section of this cardigan is done. This little handmade tag is because I've been knitting so many baby knits at the moment and I don't want to forget what size I knit them in. So I've just been writing on the back, knit in size, and then this was knit in size 6 to 12 months. So this is the cardigan. It is knit in Sirdar Snuggly Spots, which I think might be discontinued, in the peachy colour with the sort of neutral speckles. And then once I knit this, I thought I want to try some crochet applique. So I added one. So this is a little tiny bear, and I think personally that he is adorable. I have been loving crochet applique jumpers whenever I've seen them on Instagram. I'm just obsessed with them at the moment, and those creators are geniuses with what they can do. But I thought I'm going to start really basic and I'm going to make a teddy bear, and I think he's super cute. I decided that when a baby is this small, because this does seem quite small for 6 to 12 months, when a baby's this small, they're held quite a lot, so the place you're most likely to see a crochet applique is on the back, which is why it's on the back in the bottom corner. And one of my friends has said that this is his favourite thing I've ever made, which is high praise, so I really love this one. And I think it's adorable. I think I told you last time, the Peppermint Pure Cardie is a free pattern on the Signet website. It has a decent amount of sizes, and because I don't actually have any babies to be knitting for, I just thought I'll pick a 6 to 12 months, give it a go and see how I get on. So this is going in my to gift pile, which is now quite a pile of things that I have made for future babies or friends with babies. So that is my first finished object. My second finished object is very similar in nature, and I honestly cannot remember what it is called. Oh yes, I can. So its handmade tag isn't attached yet because I need to find a stitch marker to attach it with. But this is the Dream in Blue jumper by Drops, or Garn Studio I think it is also. Drops is a yarn brand. It also does free patterns. This is one of their free patterns, and it was called Dream in Blue because the pattern was blue, the yarn they were using. It is a very simple raglan jumper. It has sort of pearl details, pearl stitch details around the raglan, which I think is quite sweet. It's got a single ribbed neckline, and then it's very, very straightforward. This yarn is 100% acrylic yarn. My friend got me it for my birthday, bless him. He is like a 27-year-old boy, a man, he's obviously a man, but like he doesn't know anything about yarn. So they just went into a shop and picked out anything that they thought was fun colours, and I love a rainbow, as you'll see from later on, so they picked this. So I was thinking I really wanted to use it for something, but I wouldn't wear acrylic myself. But for babies, acrylic is really good because it can be washed so many times. And particularly small babies, so this is knit in size 6 to 9 months. Like they throw up all the time and stuff like that. So if it's easy to wash, I thought they wouldn't mind. So this, I can't actually tell you where it's from. I have no idea. But it was just an acrylic that I presume they bought in like a supermarket or shop in the UK. And then the purple is Stylecraft Special DK that I have had in stash for so long. I only had one 100-gram ball of this colour, this stripy stuff, so I ran out of it towards the bottom of the body, and I made the purple a little bit longer, which I think worked really well. I don't think it's that obvious, I think it just blends in nicely. So this is the Dream in Blue jumper, again a free pattern. And then with the leftover yarn, because I had a little bit left over, basically the problem with self-striping yarn is obviously it changes when you do the sleeves. And I had a whole like debate about whether to try and replicate these stripes on my sleeves, but I didn't have enough yarn to play with to do that. And then because I'd had to cut it up in order to get the right colours to do both sleeves, I didn't have the right repeat. I didn't have any more of the green or the purple to follow on with the body, but I did have some of the pink and the orange and the yellow. So I made a hat. My mum has been making some of these tie top hats, so I just weighed what I had left. Sorry, more ends. I weighed what I had left and I knit the size that it would work for. So again, I don't really know what size this is for. I presume 6 to 9 months because that's what I made the jumper in, but I can't actually confirm that for good. This is a tie top hat. I don't know the designer's name, so I'll either put it on the screen or it'll be in the description box below, because I just found it online. It was just a blog post online. It was a free pattern, so I will try and find this, but it's just really cute, a little tie top hat for a baby. And I thought that this was a really cute little set to get out of a gift that I didn't know what to do with. So that is whip number 2. Nope, finished object number 2. And it is also going in my little finished knit pile. Oh, I need to put my little tag with it. And then the final finished object I have, I am really proud of. I have been watching the Homespun House podcast, and she for the longest time was knitting a Jenny jacket. I was never really that interested in a Jenny jacket, and then she knit, I think she actually knit the Jenny sweater in like a bubblegum pink colour, and I just became obsessed with it and I loved it. So I was looking through my stash a couple of weeks ago, trying to decide what I wanted to work on. I've been really trying to knit from stash and not buy yarn if I don't need to, and I had some drops left over. I had 4 skeins of drops Lima in, I don't know the colour because it's numbers, but in like their purple, in a purple colour. So I was looking online at what I could knit, and I realised that Petite Knit has a child's version of the Jenny jacket called Carl's Cardigan. And after a conversation with my friends Maggie and Rebecca, they convinced me to cast on the Carl's Cardigan because it's like an opportunity to try the stitch pattern for the Jenny jacket, but with much smaller risk because it's for a child. So I knit Carl's Cardigan, and it is so cute. Oh, that was not a good way to show you it. Stop. Again, needs blocked. Has not been blocked, therefore the button band rolls. Can you just play ball for 1 minute, please? No? Can you see it? Does that help? Carl's Cardigan, like I said, is like the Jenny jacket, and if you have no idea what that looks like, it is a smocking stitch pattern. And in the case of the baby cardigan, it is on the body and then the sleeves are just stockinette. Like I said, this is Drops Lima. I think it's in like their violet colour. I can't honestly tell you. But yeah, I knit this in size 1 to 2. Really not doing it justice. Apologies, I'm butchering holding this up. If I review this and it's terrible, I'll put a picture in because I have a feeling that this is not going well. Because I do have a cute picture of it. I loved knitting this. I loved knitting the smocking stitch pattern. I had a really good time. This cardigan is knit bottom up, and I hate bottom up cardigans, but I did it, and actually it wasn't that bad. The only negative part is because it's bottom up, you knit this part of the body to the arm, and then you have to knit the 2 sleeves and then join them all together. And that first sort of 2 to 3 rows, once you've joined the sleeves in, is really quite tough, because your cable is like having to work its way around a lot of corners, and it's tricky. But once you get past those 2 rows, it's absolutely fine. I thought someone was trying to post something through my door, but I think it was Albie rubbing his head on the floor, so apologies for that. What was I saying? Yeah, once you get past that, it flies by, and I just think it's really, really cute. So I do think I see a Jenny jacket in my future. I wrote out my autumn plans 3 days ago, can't remember, and the Jenny jacket isn't on there because I do want to make it, but I want to get the perfect yarn for it, and I don't quite know what that is yet. So yeah, I will not be casting it on right now, but this sort of satisfied my craving for the smocking stitch, and I think it's really sweet. I think this will probably be... Some people have a weird superstition that like you shouldn't make baby clothes before a baby is born or whatever because it's bad luck. I choose not to believe that, because again, I'm an adult, I have free will. My best friend loves purple. That's her favourite colour. And I know that at some point in her life she would love the opportunity to have children. And I just think that this will be perfect for them whenever that happens, if that happens. So the intention is for me to store this away and keep it for her. But obviously if something happened and she wasn't able to have children and she wasn't able to adopt a child that was like would fit this cardigan, then I would gift it to someone else. But when I was knitting this, I was thinking about her, and I love this cardigan. Good morning, and oh god, stop shaking. Or good afternoon, I don't know what time it is. I just thought I would flash back to past Jo. My t-shirt's all wrinkled up. Because I made a project bag for a friend this morning, and I'm going to give it to them before I will film my next podcast. So if I remember to put this in, wonderful. I made another little project bag. I'm super proud of it. This is for my lovely friend Maggie. She'll have it by the time that she watches this, so it's not a problem to say that. It is made out of vinyl on the bottom and the side here, and then this gorgeous, I think it's swallows, gorgeous swallows fabric with a little by hand label, which is probably backwards for you guys. And then I just had some blue fabric. If you couldn't tell, Maggie's favourite colour is blue. I had some rickrack stuff that I'm using as the drawstring. And then the inside is just like a pale blue. And it's got some patterned pockets in there for her to put stuff in. And then around the other side, there's a little stitch marker holder. And I've popped a bunch of stitch markers that I've made recently, little cake stitch markers that I thought Maggie could have. So this is a self-drafted pattern. I didn't follow a specific pattern for this. I actually have like, oh, that's not the right notebook. I don't know where it is. I have handwritten notes and like a drawn out circle for the bottom and stuff like that I've done myself. But there's lots of tutorials on the internet about how you can do them, how you can make them. And also there is a lady, I want to say her name's Rosie something, who has a pattern for a quilted version of a bag like this that you could follow if you really wanted to make one yourself, but you're not confident on self-drafting something like this. So Maggie doesn't make socks, so I made it slightly bigger so that hopefully she can use it for like the beginning of a jumper project or a shawl or any other accessories she might be making, but she's not a sock lady. It is a bit big for socks. I wouldn't use this for socks, but like a medium-sized project, not a sweater probably. But maybe, if you felt like it. This is also my favourite colour, this greeny blue. So I have a bit of this vinyl left and I have a bit of this fabric left, and I don't have any rickrack left, but I'm thinking I might be able to make myself one very similar to this because I do love this fabric. But yeah, this was made, I did buy this swallow fabric for Maggie specifically, but the rest of the fabric is all from Stash. This blue inside is a old bed sheet that my granny gave me, or that I inherited when my granny passed away. I inherited a lot of her old fabrics, and that is one of them. That fabric I've had for ages. This was a fat quarter bundle from Aldi, I think, a long time ago. Like I said, I put a little by hand label on it. This actually came from the Woolly Good Gathering, not this year, but last year, their first year. There was a couple of, you got given a couple of them if you helped with their startup. If you were someone who paid to help them start up, you got some labels, and I got this one. And again, I've had this in Stash for a long time, so there's nothing really that exciting to say about it, except I'm really proud of it. I was very meticulous trying to get it to look super neat, because I knew I was gifting it to a friend who is so kind to me, and I wanted to make sure that it was worthy of them. So this is my most recent project bag making for Maggie, and I hope that by the time you see this, she has received it and she likes it. Otherwise I may just be bringing it home with me again. But yeah, there you go. Back to present Jo. So that is all my finished objects. I am going to let my dog out of the room so I'm not distracted by him, and then I will be back to talk about whips. Okay, he seems to have settled down now, so I've left him where he is. Okay, we have 3 works in progress to show you. One of which you've seen before? maybe 2, can't remember. I'm going to start with a pair of socks. This is in my, still have the tag on, my Wimbledon bag that my friend Sean got me, the smaller of the 2 that I have. And in here is a pair of socks for Angus. This is knit in, oh, the yarn's just got caught in the zip. What a nightmare. There we go. This is knit in King Cole Zigzag that I got from my mum. And actually it is worked up into this beautiful autumnal colourway. Again, not woven in the ends because they're not done yet. But it is this gorgeous autumnal colourway. Look at that. Beautifulness. These are just plain vanilla socks. I have knit them on a 72 stitch stitch count for Angus, and I'm doing it on a 2.5mm needle because this sock yarn is slightly thicker than like your standard hand dyed, so I've been knitting it on a 2.5 instead of a 2.25. I finished this sock. The only thing is that I was knitting and knitting and knitting, and then I started the toe at like the pinky, which is where I usually start the toe, at your pinky toe, not your pinky. And then I was knitting the toe, and then I got Angus to try it on, and then I was already done, like at his top of his toe. So he's got a really square, a really square looking toe. It's almost rectangular. It's blowing crazy. So he tried this on. He said it was fine. I think what I'm going to do is make the second one, make it with a normal toe, and then I'll come back and adjust this one, because this is a hilarious looking sock. Really? Okay, he wants out. Excuse any... Actually, I will cut out the mess behind me because I don't want you to see that. Goodbye. No doubt he's going to whine because he wants back in 5 minutes, but you know, what can one do? Okay, so I've knit one sock. I am knitting the second sock. Now I've done the cuff and I'm just on the leg. Again, like I said, just plain vanilla knitting. I think I did 70 rows. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Yep, I did 70 rows on the leg. So I'm going to do the same on this sock, and this is what it looks like in the skein. So I'm just working on these very vanilla socks right now. I cast these on when we were on holiday in Wales, which was the last week in July, and I cast them on because my brain wasn't functioning and I didn't want anything complex. So I had these on the needles for quite a while, and I really would like them off the needles, so I'm going to try and prioritise working on these to get this done, because I don't want to be working on them forever, because you'll see later I've got some plans for some socks for myself that I would really like to cast on. Let's go, well, you've seen all of these whips now. In my bigger Wimbledon bag is my Hoolie Blanket. Last time I showed you this, I told you that the Carl's cardigan was by Petite Knit. If I didn't, the Carl's cardigan is by Petite Knit. And those vanilla socks are just vanilla, so they don't have a pattern. Now I'm going to sneeze. Bless me. I think this is showing me I shouldn't film this early in the morning because my brain's just like... Last time you saw this blanket, I think I had knit 3 little right, start at the beginning, Jo. I'm test knitting the Hoolie Blanket for the Creabea, which is a either seam as you go or seam at the end blanket pattern that Rebecca is releasing, I think in time for Advent, but I'm not sure. Actually, it can't be in time for Advent because the test is for Christmas. So I'm knitting the blanket. I'm knitting mine in strips, and then I will be seaming them at the end because I would like to organise the colours however I see fit once I've knit them all. And I'm doing mine scrappy. I have so many scraps, or I thought I had so many scraps, that I wanted to try and use them up, and I thought a blanket is the best way to do that. So I think last time I had knit 3 strips, I'm pretty sure, and I'm knitting mine on a 5mm needle just for reference. So I've knit 3 strips since then. I've just finished my 6th strip for the blanket. So this is strip number 4. As you can see, it is a ziggy-zag type pattern. And all of my scraps are from previous socks or previous advents, all things that I have used like partial bits of, but not loads of. I then cast on, I haven't woven in the ends on this one, which is really bad, or either of these blue ones actually, but I then did a second blue one because I had blue's my favourite colour, or aqua's my favourite colour, so I had loads of leftovers from socks and things. So that is my second blue one. And then after 2 blue ones, I was kind of like, meh, I'm a bit bored of the blue ones. So I cast on a pink one. And I have woven in the ends on this pink one because I'm clever. So this is my beautiful pink one. With some scraps from a t-shirt I've knit, some scraps from socks I've done, and then these 2 are scraps from my Dafties cardigan. So I'm on 6 strips, which is wonderful because for the size I'm doing I need to do 12, and I have worked out that if I knit one every 2 weeks I should finish at the start of December or like midway in December, which gives me plenty time to seam it up and then have it for Christmas time, for the test deadline, which is Christmas Day. So I think Monday is my 6th week. Sometime around now is my, like, you need to have 6 strips done deadline, and I have done that. So I'm pretty pleased. This is my bag of scraps. This is all I have left in my bag of scraps. So I'm gonna have to start knitting some socks and things to get more scraps, or use some scraps up, because I'm gonna run out before this blanket is done if I'm not careful. But I'm really looking forward to having the blanket in the winter. I think I mentioned this last time, but for anyone who isn't aware, in Scotland we say it's blowing a hoolie when it's very windy, and it usually gets very windy in autumn and winter. So I'm really looking forward to working on my hoolie blanket when it is blowing a hoolie, because it just brings me a lot of joy. Okay, my final knitting whip is so exciting. I would describe it as my magnum opus or my Mount Everest knit. I am knitting this spot sweater. You saw it last time and I've made some progress on it. I have officially added all of the colours that I'm going to add, which was 23 of the 24 Advent colours. And it is amazing. I'm actually going to reverse. Beep, beep, beep. So hopefully I can get the whole thing in. This is my spot sweater. This is the back panel that you're looking at. Again, everything rolls up for me at the moment, but I'm gonna try and maybe if I hold it this way. Maybe if I hold it upside down, that'll work. Ta-da! This is my spot sweater. The spot sweater is a pattern by Anne Wenzel. I have had it in my Ravelry to knit list for years, and I finally cast it on. I am knitting it in, the main colour is Knitting for Olive in the colour Cream, I think. Oh, I've got it right here. Don't make it up, Joe, just look it up. Yeah, in Cream, I was right. And some undyed Surrey that I had in stash. And then I am knitting this as part of the Corner of Craft Advents Past, Christmas Advents Past knit along that she's doing at the moment, where you knit on advents that you've had in the past. So this was last year's Cookston Crafts Succulents Advent Calendar. This was all the colours from it. It is absolutely beautiful, and I'm really glad I got to use it in like one project altogether. Like I said, I've now finished the colours on the body, and I am knitting, I've decided to do a split hem, so I'm knitting the back ribbing first, and then I will do the front ribbing as well. I decided to do a split hem because in order to get all of the colours that I wanted in the jumper, it has to be a little bit longer than I would traditionally make it. It's not a crop jumper in any way, it's long, and it was kind of already just above my hips, and I thought, well, if I have a split hem, that'll give me a little bit more room, and it won't like cinch me in at the bottom. So I've gone for a split hem. I think it'll look really cute. the plan of action is to finish the hem / finish this ball of merino, which, I mean, I really don't have much at all, so I probably won't even get the ribbing done on the bottom before I have to start a new ball. And when I start a new ball, I'm going to do the collar, because I feel like that just makes a jumper look much better once the collar's done. So I'm going to do the collar and then go back to the ribbing, because I really want to see what it looks like with the collar. I'm loving this. It looks amazing. I'm really, really pleased with it, and I can't wait to have it done. But I'm now at the point where I've been working on it for so long. I'm trying not to rush the process, but I also really want to wear it. So I am working on it quite a lot at the moment to try and get it done, because it did have a bit of a hiatus for a wee while there. Also, last year I bought myself some needle stoppers, and I finally got to get out my little autumn ones. And these are so cute, and I'm obsessed with them. So I just thought I wanted to give them a wee shout out. I hope you saw them. Little ghosts, little pumpkin spice ghosts, which is adorable. So yeah, this is my spot sweater. I think that's everything I needed to say on the spot sweater. The only colour I didn't use from the Cookston Crafts advent calendar was the very last one, number 24, because it was like a neutrally brown colour, which is totally fine, but I didn't want it in my jumper, essentially. My jumper is very bright, very rainbow, and I didn't want a brown right at the very bottom, so I've decided not to add it. So it's actually 23 of the 24 colours, which I think is totally fine. Sorry, play with the hair, play with the hair. So my last work in progress is a new craft for me. I've never done this before. And it's cross stitch. I watch a lot of podcasts, a lot of YouTube, and one of the YouTubes that I watch is Helen from Giddy Yarns in Dundee, and she does cross stitch, and she inspired me to give it a go. She talks about caterpillar cross stitch quite a bit. She was doing a Halloween one that was like shops and houses and things, which I really loved, and I think she's still doing a winter one like that too. So I had a look on the Caterpillar Cross Stitch website, and I came across one that I just couldn't say no to. For any of you seasoned cross stitchers out there, you're probably going to think, what a crazy cross stitch to start with, but I started my knitting journey with a 3-coloured colourwork jumper, and I just think, dive in, give it a go, what's the worst that can happen? So the cross stitch I have chosen is the Holly Jolly Kitchen by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. It is Christmas themed, because I love Christmas, and I thought, how am I going to keep myself motivated? You're going to do something Christmassy. And it is like all of the foods that you would have in your kitchen at Christmas time. And my plan is to cross stitch this and then put it in a beautiful frame and hang it up at Christmas time in our kitchen. And I have started this bad boy, and this is where we are. And I'm really proud of it. So I started in the middle, because all the advice I found online said start your cross stitch in the middle. So I started in the middle, and that was this little window of the gingerbread house. And then I moved on to the doorway, this little peppermint number. And then yesterday I sat and did, last weekend, I can't remember what day it is, I started with the outline of the gingerbread house. My thought process was, if I do the outline, then I just know that I need to fill in the rest of it with the gingerbread colour, which I think will be easier. So that's what we're doing just now, and I'm trying to do a little bit on this every single day, because I think that's how I will get through it. And even if it's a case of I just like cut one length of the thread and like just do until that length of thread is done, then at least I've done something. When I ordered the kit, I did get the premium kit, which meant it came with this adorable little needle minder, this little mince pie number, very cute, and I just keep my needle on it, and I just keep it lying somewhere neatly. I've got mine on a Nurge hoop. I also watch This Little Wonderful Life, which might be her vlog channel. She has 2. I can't remember which one's which, but she cross stitches as well, and she was talking about Nurge hoops, so I got a Nurge hoop because it's rectangular and this project is rectangular, so I thought it would help. Again, brand new to cross stitch. I have no idea if that's true, but that's what I did, and I think it's cute. So this is my cross stitch. There's not really much to say about it. except I am enjoying myself. It's really therapeutic to just sit and like make tiny crosses. I do have to look at the pattern more than I thought I would have to, but that's just because I have to be like, right, where's the next stitch and what do I need to do while I'm doing the outline? Whereas I think it'll be more TV appropriate once I'm like filling things in. But I'm really enjoying it. It's going really well so far. So I'm just going to plug along at it and see how I get on. I did start a Christmas cross stitch in September in the hope that I will get it done by Christmas time. But I also know from watching these videos that some of these things take years to do, and that's okay with me. I love Christmas, I love autumn, so just working on this stuff at the moment is bringing me a lot of joy. So I can't really complain. But that is all of my whips and all of my finished objects. And I do have 2 plans to share with you. Let me just check. I've got all of the stuff that I need, which I do. So, I said to you that I updated my autumn plans. So I have a whiteboard in my craft room, right there, that I'm looking at. And it's had the same stuff on it since about March. And I thought, I'm changing it. I changed it at the weekend. And I wrote out all the things I want to make this autumn. And then the wishes that I have for this autumn. So if I get through some of the other stuff, this is what I would cast on. So a couple of them are stuff I've already shown you today that I've started on. A couple of them I need to start. But there's 2 of them that I was going to share with you because I have yarn in stash that I wanted to show you and you've not seen it before. I spoke about the Lulu slipover last week, or last video, so I'm not going to talk about that again. But there's a pair of socks and a hat. So the first, I'll just show you the pair of socks. I think 2 years ago now. Yeah, 2 years ago now. I ordered this sock set from a homespun house. And it is in their pumpkin spice colourway on their plump merino, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. Tell me this is not stunning. It's just so bright and vibrant. It's got some wonderful speckles in. It came with this adorable little light brown mini, and I want to cast these on. I think I want to make either the Hibernal socks by Summer Lee, or there's a sock set called Expelliarmus socks, and I can't remember who the pattern is by. If I can, or if I find it, I'll put it on the screen. But I want to knit sort of a cable-y style sock. I was wearing my Hibernal socks the other day. They're like the only socks I've got that are really long and just they feel like cozy and comforting. And I do kind of want another pair like that. So I'm either going to knit exactly the same in the Hibernal socks, or I'm going to knit a super long pair of the Expelliarmus socks because they are cabled as well. Again, I'll insert a picture if you don't know what they look like because I don't think it's that well known a pattern. But this is the beautiful sock set by Homespun House, and it's been in my stash for 2 years now because I wanted to knit it last year and I never got around to it. So I'm starting in September with the aim of getting this done. So I was going to wind this up, but I thought I'll show you it in the podcast unwound and then we'll get it wound up. So that is plan number 1. And then plan number 2 is a Musselburgh hat. Again, I love Musselburgh hats, but I've made one for myself and the fit is okay, it could be a little bit longer. And I have made one for my friend and he wears his all the time, and he loves it. And his was knit with 1 skein of merino and 1 skein of Suri alpaca. And so I have decided to replicate that for myself. I have 3 Musselburgh quantities, so a fingering and a Suri. But this is the one I've chosen for this autumn because it is just wonderfully autumnal colours. And again, this has just been sitting in stash waiting for the right time to cast it on. So the fingering weight is by Beehive Yarns and it is in the colour Maple Sugar. It's 75/25 and you get 425 metres for 100 grams. It's stunning. It's beautifully it's almost tonal, but it's just got a little bit of speckle in. Oh, I love it. I love this yarn. And then my friend Venetia from the Woolly Worker podcast was ordering from Explorer Knits and Fibres in the US, and we grouped together and I got a couple of Surrey skeins and she got a jumper's quantity. And this is one of the ones that I got. So it's their Surrey alpaca lace in the colour Sangria, and there's 328 yards in this, so it's got slightly less than this. When I knit my Musselburgh for my friend, I just didn't put the fluff on the crown on the inside. I just finished it off once I ran out, and then nobody notices because it's the double folded, it's not super obvious. So when I run out of this, I will just hold this single. But these are the two together. I think they're going to make a beautiful autumnal Musselburgh for myself, and that is my other plan that I've got on the go. Okay, the rest of this video will be acquisitions, so please, if you don't like acquisitions, it was lovely to have you. Thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed spending time with you, and I hope you got some good knitting done. I have quite a few, and I'm not going to apologise for that, because like I said, I really like acquisitions. And actually, I only paid for 2 items of this. I am lucky enough to be part of the Edinburgh Knit Night. I don't attend as much as I want to because, if I'm honest, I get quite anxious, and so while I've been working on my anxiety, I haven't been attending. But I do try and go every so often, and I was fortunate enough last week that my lovely friend from work came with me. Both 2 of my friends from work came with me, and they provided me with enough moral support that I was able to go to Knit Night, which was wonderful because it was our Knit Night yarn swap. So every 6 months or so, the Knit Night do a yarn swap where everyone brings all of their sort of skeins they haven't used or leftovers from projects, and then we put it all out on a table and everyone does a big swap. And you have, like, the only rules are like, be sensible, don't take don't fight people, you know, it's very much like a civilized, you just take what's reasonable, and you know, everyone's just so nice and encouraging. And so I got quite a bit of yarn from there. I actually arrived very late. Knit Night starts at 5:30 and I didn't get there till 7:15. Because I haven't been in a while, I didn't want to show up and be like, yeah, I'm going to take all the yarn. So I wanted to give plenty of time for people that do go on a weekly basis to scout out and get whatever they wanted, and then I would go in and have a look at the end once it was a little bit calmer. And yeah, so that's what I did. My wonderful friend Maggie was there from the beginning, and she picked up a couple of skeins for me that she thought I would like, which was very kind. So I do have some of them. But I thought I would show you what I got from Knit Night Yarn Swap, and then I'll finish with what I actually purchased myself. So the first thing I got from the swap was this quantity of cotton. So this is 100% cotton by Sirdar. And it is DK weight, and it's in this wonderful green colour. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 skeins of this, and then there's 2 white skeins in there too. And I thought, I'm going to give that a go for a summer t-shirt, for some sort of baby knit. I think it would make a really cute vest or something for the summer, or a toasta tee, so that's what I'm going to knit with this. Very straightforward. It wasn't like when I did my first pass, I didn't pick it up, but then I was standing talking to someone, they were like, oh, it's a shame no one's taken that because, you know, it's really good and it's a lot of yarn. And I was like, well, guess it'll have to come home with me. The good thing about Knit Night Yarn Swap is because it's sort of biannually, is that right? Every 6 months. If I don't knit with this before the next one, I will take it to the next one and give it back, and someone else can have a go. That's what I've done every time I've taken from the Knit Night Yarn Swap. If I haven't used it, I've taken it back to the next one. Because that way people get an opportunity to get something that they maybe didn't see last time. So that is the first thing I got from the swap. And kind of out of season, but good for next season. The next thing I got, so I've got it at the moment in little bags because, like, I trust everyone at Knit Night to have, like, good yarn hygiene, but I have a lot of yarn in my stash and I don't like to just bring new yarn in, any new yarn in, and just have it in here. So I have kept it all in bags, but I will take it out to show you what I got. So I've got sort of 2 bags like this, and then I'll actually show you the stuff that's not in these 2 bags at the moment. So One of the yarns that Maggie picked up for me before I got there is this gorgeous pink skein. So this is actually hand dyed. It's by Ginger Twist Studio, which is an Edinburgh based yarn dyer, and it says Ginger's Victoria DK in the colour Rosebud, and it's 100% Polworth wool, and it is gorgeous. Both the colour and what it feels like is amazing, and Maggie picked this up for me when she saw it because she just thought it was very me. Hopefully you saw that and it wasn't like reflecting, but it's a beautiful colour. So I've got that. And then the rest of this bag that I've got is sock yarn. So there was quite a lot of like leftover scraps that obviously people had left over after making socks. And I love that sort of thing, either for my blanket or for heels and toes and cuffs. And I know that I can get a pair of socks for myself in sort of 50 grams. So I picked up this yarn, which just says unknown sock yarn, but there's 61 grams of it. It very much looks like a West Yorkshire Spinners in like a blue colour, which I think is just going to have speckles of yellow and green in. So I picked that up. And then there was a couple more very similar to that, which again I think are West Yorkshire Spinners in their birds colourways, but there was a couple more little nuggets of sock yarn like that. Apologies for the crinkling. And then there was two more in a very similar vein, like scraps that people had obviously used to knit socks. So this is West Green Loft Yarns, 75/25, and they said there's 42 grams of this, so I could get a shorty sock out of this. And it's this gorgeous like light pink fairy style colour. So I picked up that one. And then I saw this. For those of you who have watched my episodes for a wee while, you'll recognise this. This is my favourite Christmas sock yarn. It is the West Yorkshire Spinners gingerbread colourway, so when I saw this little chunk I thought I have to get that. I actually have a full skein of this in my stash, but I love this. I cannot get enough of this. And like I said, it was at the very end when everyone had sort of had one or two passes and it looked like nobody was going to take it, so I grabbed it for myself because it's my favourite Christmas sock yarn. So that was my sort of scrappy bits that I picked up. Maggie very kindly picked me up this opal yarn. I love a self-striping or self-patterning sock, which is what I'm knitting for Angus just now, and that's exactly what this opal is. So it's from their Aquarelle colour, apologies if I just butchered that, like from their Aquarelle range, and it's in the colour, don't know how to say that, in that colour. But it's like purples and blues and oranges and pinks, and there's from that bit there you will have seen the little picture of what it might look like, and she picked this up for me and I'm very excited to knit on these because I think they're super cute. So thank you very much, Maggie. Again, I've said thank you a million times to Maggie, but thank you very much, Maggie. And then the other two I'll show you afterwards because they're a little bit different. And then, I promise you we're not that far from the end. I also picked up anything that I thought could be sort of a baby knit quantity because people at Knit Night don't tend to want to pick up sort of smaller quantities unless they have kids themselves because there's not very much you can do with them. And again, these were left towards the end. So I got 2 skeins of Sandnesgarn Pure Gint, which is actually good. I've never tried Pure Gint before. I think it would be too itchy for me, but I don't know how it would be for a baby. So I'll either use it for a baby or I'll use it for something else. It doesn't say it's superwash, so it might actually felt, and I want to make some felted slippers, although I'm not sure if this would be enough to make felted slippers, so that might be where it goes to. But it's in this wonderful sort of ice blue colour. It is colour 5811, and there's 2 skeins of it. For anyone that's not used Pure Gint before like me, there is 91 metres and 50 grams, and I got 2 of them. So I picked up them because I saw them. And then the other sort of kids-ish quantity I picked up is in Drops Charisma. So this is colour 45, a lovely green colour, and this is colour 44, a grey colour, and I got 2 of each of these. Drops Charisma is 100 metres for 50 grams, so basically the same as this, and it's 100% wool as well. And I just thought like a little striped jumper of some kind, a little striped cardigan would be adorable in these 2 colours. So I picked up 2 of each of those as well. Shoving them back in my bag. Put all these back in my bag as well. So that's what I got from the yarn swap. That's all the things I picked up. But I do have a couple of things that I got at that swap, but I had purchased previously. So, like I said, talking about Maggie loads because I love Maggie. Maggie went to her local charity shop, and when she was there, someone had clearly been destashing, and there was like 10 hand-dyed skeins, and all of them were like £7 or £8. And Maggie, being the wonderful person she is, messaged me and sent me a photo and said, do you want any of these? And I said, absolutely I do. And she picked up 2 skeins that she thought were very me. And I must say, they are very me. So, the first, they're both from dyers I'd never used before, so that was sort of my excuse for getting them. This one is by Skein Queen, and it's 4-ply fingering, it's 100% superwash merino, and it's called Ginseng Tea. And this is the colour. Now, it's like a beautiful light blue, but the thing I loved about it was like this speckly part. It's got some beautiful speckles in it, and I just really liked it. So I think this will make a good hat in the future, or mittens, or maybe like a contrast for a jumper. And this was £7. £7 from the charity shop. How could I say no? So that was the first one. And then the second one was another company I had never had from before, and it is Life in the Long Grass. Look at this. It's beautiful. So it's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. It's called their Fine Sock Base, and it's a fingering weight. It says Life in the Long Grass, hand dyed in Ireland, and this is the colour Viola. So cute. It is just really, really beautiful. It really drew me in from the photos, and then in person when Maggie gave it to me, I was like, oh my gosh. And this one was £8. Again, how was I meant to say no to that? So Maggie gave me those at Knit Night on Monday. Thank you very much, Maggie. So I picked them up as well. So I came home with a lot of yarn. The 2 friends I went with for emotional support, like I'd spoken to them beforehand, and I was like, I don't really want to get anything. I just want to drop off the yarn that I'm taking and then like not leave with anything. And after my first pass, I came back with a full bag, and my friend looked at me and he was like, oh. He was like, Jo, this was not the plan. And then I just kept going back. I actually got some fabric as well, but that's next door, and yeah, it was a whole thing. But it's all free. It's all for a good cause. If I don't use it, I can take it back. So I'm really pleased with what I got from Knit Night Yarn Spot. So if that wasn't already enough for your acquisition brain, I also received a parcel. So technically my caterpillar cross stitch was an acquisition as well, because that arrived this month. But I ordered myself some yarn like 2 days ago? No, a week ago? From a homespun house. I love a homespun house, as I've mentioned several times, and I was watching her podcast the other day, and she showed a new colourway called Cider Season, and I did something I've not done in a long time, which was pause the video and go and immediately buy the yarn and then go back to watching the video. So that's what I've got in this bag. But you'll notice, Jo, that's too big a bag for one skein. When I went on their website, I noticed they were doing mystery skeins for like a reduced price, and I thought, well, if it's coming all the way from Germany, I may as well get myself a mystery skein as well. And I opened this up yesterday, and oh my gosh. So first, again, sorry for the crinkle, I'll show you Cider Season, which is the colourway I ordered. So I got it in their Stellina base. It is gold Stellina fingering, it's 80% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 5% Stellina, and you get 420 metres. And this is Cider Season. Oh my gosh, can you see why I had to go and immediately buy it? Look at it. It's absolutely blooming stunning. And Molly from Homespun House is knitting this up at the moment, and I am just obsessed with it. So I had to immediately get this. And I'm in my Stellina era. I'm absolutely adoring Stellina. Anything with Stellina in it, and I love it. So I had to buy this, and I'm really excited to cast this on. That's also going in the cast on pile, so that's like 4 skeins I have to wind up. So that was the first thing. But then I opened it yesterday and I was shook. with what I received as my mystery skein, because I received one of their merino cashmere skeins. You heard me right, merino cashmere. So this is 70% superwash merino, 10% nylon, and 20% cashmere. And this is in the colour Dark Gumdrop, in its 390 metres per 100 grams. And I opened this last night and I fell in love with it immediately. It is so soft and so lovely. And I want to wear it all the time. So I've decided that this is going to have to be some sort of mini shawl, because I can't possibly make socks out of this. Can't possibly make socks out of cashmere. That's just offensive. So it's going to have to be a mini shawl to brighten up my winter outfits. So if you have any mini shawl patterns that take one skein, please let me know, because I would love to know. And I'm not sure I want a Sophie scarf. I'm just not sure I want a Sophie scarf. So anything but a Sophie scarf, please. Because this is amazing. And since I opened this yesterday, I've now decided that I think I want to use their merino cashmere DK, maybe, for my Jenny jacket. Because her Jenny sweater was out of her merino cashmere. And I love this yarn. So even if it's not my Jenny jacket, I think I'm going to have to save up and buy a hand-dyed quantity of merino cashmere from a homespun house, because this is phenomenal. And if this was their plan, like, oh, let's send out some cashmere skeins so people buy it, it worked, because this is amazing. So yeah, that's actually the only thing. These are the only things I've purchased this month. Everything else that I brought into stash was lovely and wonderful and free. Other than those, you know, the skeins I bought through Maggie, but that was technically last month. So, does it count? Probably not. So, that whirlwind tour was everything that I've been working on since we last spoke. I thought this was going to be a short video. I don't think it has been. And I hope it's been enjoyable. I actually have to go and leave for work now. But it's been lovely to spend some time with you this morning. I hope you got some knitting done or crafting done. I hope you had some relaxing time with me and it wasn't too scatterbrained. Maybe filming in the mornings is not my best suggestion. But it's been lovely spending some time with you. Thank you so much for coming and for watching to the end. I would love to hear what you were working on throughout this video. I would love to hear what your favourite season is and what you're looking forward to for the autumn and winter seasons. And we will catch up very soon. Bye.